What happens when the quietest man in Hollywood, the one known for bowed heads and soft smiles, finally decides that silence has cost him too much and chooses to speak on live television, with millions watching and nowhere to hide? Before we go any further, subscribe to Stage View right now and hit like and comment so you don't miss stories that pull you straight into the heat of the moment. The studio lights of The View burn brighter than usual that morning, white and unforgiving, washing over the polished table and the faces seated around it. There's a restless energy in the air, the kind that makes producers whisper more urgently into headsets and audience members sit a little straighter in their seats. Keanu Reeves steps out from backstage, not with the swagger of an action star, but with the familiar calm that has made him a legend for reasons far beyond movies. Black blazer, dark shirt, no flash. Just presence. Applause ripples across the room, warm and welcoming, but it carries an undercurrent of curiosity. Keanu Reeves doesn't do daytime talk show drama. He doesn't spar. He doesn't raise his voice. He smiles, listens, answers gently, and leaves. That's the version everyone expects today. Sunny Hostin watches him as he takes his seat, fingers folded neatly in front of him. Her smile is practiced, television perfect, but her eyes are sharp. She's prepared. Her notes are stacked just out of camera frame, bullet points waiting like loaded questions. The producers had pitched this segment as reflective, legacy, kindness, resilience. But somewhere between the rundown and the rehearsal, the tone shifted. Whoopi Goldberg opens the segment with a relaxed ease, welcoming Keanu, joking about his latest project. Laughter flows. The audience exhales. Keanu chuckles softly, nodding, thanking them for having him. His voice is low, measured, almost meditative. Joy Behar jumps in with a playful comment about his reputation as the internet's boyfriend. More laughter. Keanu shrugs, modest, deflecting praise with a gentle smile. This is the rhythm everyone knows. Then Sunny leans forward. So, Keanu, she says, her tone still smooth but pointed. You've built this image of being untouchable. The nice guy. The quiet philosopher. But some people say that staying silent, especially on big social issues, is a choice that speaks louder than words. The room subtly tightens. Keanu's smile fades just a fraction, not gone but thinner. He listens, as he always does, eyes focused on Sunny, attentive. Sunny continues. There are fans who feel disappointed. They say, with your influence, why not take stronger public stances? Why not use your platform more aggressively? A camera cuts to the audience. A few nod. A few frowns. Someone whispers to the person beside them. Keanu inhales slowly. I try to live my values, he says carefully. I believe actions matter. I've always felt. But isn't that a bit convenient? Sunny interrupts, her smile still in place. To choose quiet when speaking out could actually help people. There it is. The interruption. Subtle but unmistakable. Whoopi shifts in her chair, glancing between them. Joy raises an eyebrow. The producers lean forward in the control room. Keanu pauses. For a heartbeat, the studio is silent except for the low hum of lights. He nods once, absorbing the question. I don't think kindness has to be loud, he says. And I don't think everyone has to perform their beliefs publicly to make them real. Sunny tilts her head. But you understand why people question it, right? Silence from someone like you can feel like indifference. The word lands heavier than expected. Indifference. Keanu's jaw tightens. It's subtle, but the camera catches it. For years, he's been defined by grace under pressure, by tragedy handled privately, by generosity given without announcement. Being called indifferent, on live TV, hits a nerve. I don't believe I'm indifferent, he says, voice still calm but lower now. I believe in listening first. Sunny doesn't back off. Listening is important. But so is speaking. Especially when people are hurting. The audience murmurs. The tension is no longer theoretical. It's alive, stretching between them like a wire pulled too tight. Keanu leans back slightly, hands clasped. In his mind, memories flicker. Loss, grief, moments when the world expected statements and explanations, when cameras chased him for reactions he didn't have words for. He spent decades learning that not every pain needs a microphone. I've lost people, he says quietly. I've seen suffering up close. I try to help in ways that don't center me. Sunny's expression softens for half a second, then firms again. No one's questioning your pain, she replies. But with respect, personal generosity doesn't replace public accountability. The word accountability hangs in the air. Whoopi clears her throat. All right now, Sunny continues, pressing on. You're a symbol, whether you want to be or not. And symbols have responsibility. Keanu looks at Whoopi, then back to Sunny. The calm mask is still there, but something beneath it is shifting. His shoulders square, almost imperceptibly. Being a symbol isn't something I asked for, he says. And responsibility looks different to different people. Sunny nods, but her eyes don't yield. So you're saying you don't owe your audience anything beyond your films? A sharp intake of breath from somewhere in the crowd. This is no longer casual conversation. This is confrontation. Keanu's fingers uncurl. He places his hands flat on the table, grounding himself. I owe honesty, he says. And I owe myself the right to live authentically. Joy leans in, trying to lighten the mood. I mean, the man gives away motorcycles, Sunny, she jokes weakly. A few laughs, nervous and scattered. Sunny doesn't laugh. That's admirable, she says. But it's also safe. Safe. That's when it happens. The shift. The moment viewers will replay, dissect, slow down frame by frame. Keanu looks directly at Sunny, not unkindly, but firmly. You keep using words like safe and indifferent, he says. And I think that's unfair. The audience goes quiet. Even the cameras seem to hold their breath. For years, he continues, I've watched people turn suffering into sound bites. I chose a different path. That doesn't make me less engaged. It makes me cautious. Sunny crosses her arms. Cautious or comfortable? There's a beat. A long one. Keanu exhales. When he speaks again, the softness is still there, but it's edged with something new, resolve. Comfortable is pretending that shouting solves everything, he says. Comfortable is judging how others grieve or give. Whoopi's eyes widen slightly. This is not the Keanu Reeves people expect. The audience reacts now, some applause, some gasps, a low wave of sound rolling through the studio. Sunny opens her mouth, then closes it, recalibrating. I'm not judging your grief, she says. I'm challenging your influence. And I'm pushing back on the assumption that influence must look one way, Keanu replies. The producer's voice crackles in Whoopi's earpiece, urging a break soon, but the moment has taken on a life of its own. Keanu continues, words steady, deliberate. I've been silent because I didn't want to add noise. But silence doesn't mean absence. It means reflection. Sunny's gaze doesn't waver. Reflection without action can still hurt people. A ripple of agreement from part of the audience. Another part claps for Keanu. The room is split, energy crackling. Keanu nods slowly. Then maybe the real question, he says, is who gets to decide what action looks like. The camera cuts to Sunny. For the first time, her composure slips just a touch. She hadn't expected this, hadn't expected him to meet her head-on. Whoopi raises her hand. All right, we're going to take a breath here. But the tension doesn't break. It lingers thick and electric as the screen fades toward commercial. Viewers at home lean closer to their TVs, phones already in hand, sensing that this isn't just an interview anymore. This is the beginning of something Keanu Reeves has never done before. And when the cameras come back on, the quiet man may not be quiet anymore. The red light above the camera flickers back on, and the studio seems to snap awake all at once. Applause rises automatically, trained and polite, but it doesn't wash away the tension. It only disguises it. Keanu Reeves sits exactly where he was before the break, posture calm, face composed. But something has shifted behind his eyes. Sunny Hostin straightens her notes, her smile returning like armor being carefully put back on. Whoopi exhales, the kind of breath meant to reset a room. Okay, she says lightly, tapping the table. We're back with Keanu Reeves, and clearly we struck a nerve. A few chuckles ripple through the audience, but they're thinner now. People aren't laughing because it's funny. They're laughing because silence would feel too loud. Keanu nods once. Conversation tends to do that, he says softly. Sunny glances at him, then to Whoopi. And that's a good thing, she adds quickly. This is why we're here. The cameras zoom in, closer than before. No wide shots now. No safe distance. Sunny turns fully toward Keanu. I want to be clear, she says. This isn't personal. But when you're someone people look up to, your choices, especially your silence, can shape narratives. Keanu listens, head slightly tilted. He doesn't interrupt. That restraint only makes the audience lean in more. She continues, there are young people who idolize you. They see you as proof that goodness exists in Hollywood. Don't they deserve clarity? Don't they deserve to know where you stand? The word stand echoes. Keanu's fingers interlace, then separate again. He looks down briefly, as if choosing each word from a careful place. I've always believed, he says, that telling people what to think is less powerful than showing them how to be. Sunny nods but presses forward. But showing can still be ambiguous. The audience murmurs again, louder this time. Someone claps. Someone else shakes their head. Joy Behar leans in, half smiling. Sunny, not everyone wants to be a billboard. Sunny turns to Joy. And not everyone has the luxury of neutrality. That line hits harder than expected. A collective O moves through the crowd. Keanu looks up now, meeting Sunny's eyes directly. Neutrality assumes I'm standing in the middle, he says. I'm not. I just don't announce every step. Sunny's brow furrows. But how do people know you're moving at all? For the first time, Keanu's voice tightens, not louder, just firmer. Because I'm still here. Still working. Still giving. Still listening. The producer's voice hisses through Whoopi's earpiece again, careful. Whoopi raises her hand instinctively, but lets it fall. Sunny inhales. Let me ask you this, she says. Have you ever worried that staying quiet protects you more than it helps others? There it is. The question beneath all the others. The studio freezes. Even the applause sign stays dark. Keanu doesn't answer right away. Seconds stretch. In his mind, images pass, moments of grief photographed without permission, headlines speculating on his pain, the strange violence of public empathy. He spent years choosing restraint not because it was easy, but because it was survivable. Yes, he says finally. I've worried about that. The admission lands softly but powerfully. Sunny's posture relaxes just a fraction. But, Keanu continues, I've also worried about the opposite. That speaking too quickly, too loudly, would turn real issues into performance. The audience responds, some applause, some uneasy shifting. The split is sharper now. Sunny's tone softens, but her eyes remain intent. So where's the balance? Keanu exhales. I'm still figuring that out. For a moment, there's something almost intimate in the exchange. Two people circling the same truth from different angles. Then Sunny glances down at her notes again. A new page. There's another layer to this, she says. Some critics say your image as the good guy is curated, that it allows you to avoid scrutiny. A few gasps. Someone in the audience audibly says, wow. Keanu blinks. Once. Slowly. Curated by whom? He asks. By the media, Sunny replies. And perhaps by you, through what you choose not to say. The words hang, sharp and deliberate. Keanu leans back, absorbing it. When he speaks again, his calm has changed shape. It's no longer just gentleness, it's control. I don't manage my image, he says. I manage my life. Sunny raises an eyebrow. Public figures don't get that separation. Keanu's lips press together briefly. Then maybe that's the problem. A wave of applause breaks out, louder than before. Whoopi lifts her hands, trying to keep order. Okay. Sunny waits it out, then continues. You've said before that you don't like fame. I don't, Keanu replies. But you benefit from it, she says. Yes, he agrees. And I try to use that benefit responsibly. Sunny gestures slightly with her pen. Responsibly enough to avoid uncomfortable conversations. The audience reacts again, this time more divided than ever. Keanu's gaze doesn't drop. I'm having one right now. That line detonates. Applause erupts, mixed with gasps and cheers. Someone stands up before quickly sitting back down. Social media managers backstage are already typing furiously. Sunny smiles tightly. You are, she concedes. And I respect that. But she doesn't stop. Do you understand, she asks, why some people feel let down? Keanu nods. Yes. And do you think you owe them more? This time, his answer comes faster. I think I owe them honesty, not performance. Sunny opens her mouth, then pauses. The rhythm is slipping from her control now. Whoopi seizes the moment. You know, she says, voice warm but firm. There's more than one way to show up for people. Joy nods. Amen. Sunny glances at Whoopi, then back to Keanu. Fair. But silence can still be read as absence. Keanu's expression softens again, but there's steel underneath. Then maybe we need to teach people to read more carefully. The audience reacts strongly, applause, whistles, a few boos. The room feels electric, unstable, alive. Sunny laughs softly, almost incredulous. You're very good with words for someone who claims to avoid them. Keanu smiles faintly. I avoid unnecessary ones. That earns another wave of laughter and applause. But Sunny isn't finished. Let me ask you something personal, she says, voice lowering. Have you ever felt pressured to speak and chosen not to, even when you wanted to? Keanu hesitates. The question pierces deeper than the rest. Yes, he says quietly. Sunny nods. Why? He looks out toward the audience now, beyond the table, beyond the lights. Because sometimes, he says, speaking opens wounds I wasn't ready to bleed in public. The studio goes silent. No murmurs. No claps. Just stillness. Sunny's expression changes. The sharpness fades, replaced by something closer to understanding. That's fair, she says softly. For the first time since the segment began, the tension loosens, just slightly. Whoopi leans forward. And that, she says, is something people forget. Celebrities are still people. Applause follows, more unified this time. Sunny exhales, placing her pen down. I appreciate your honesty, she says. Even if we don't fully agree. Keanu nods. I don't expect agreement, he replies. Just space. The camera pulls back a little now, offering the audience a breath. But the energy hasn't dissipated, it's transformed. This is no longer a confrontation fueled by accusation alone. It's something more complex, more human. Yet beneath it all, unresolved tension hums quietly. Because questions like these don't end neatly. They linger. They follow you off the stage. As the segment nears its end, Whoopi thanks Keanu again, her tone sincere. The applause is longer now, heavier. Keanu stands, nodding to the audience, offering a small bow of gratitude. Sunny watches him as he prepares to leave, her expression unreadable. Backstage, producers exchange glances. Phones buzz nonstop. Clips are already being cut, captions drafted, headlines forming before the cameras even cool. Keanu walks toward the exit, shoulders relaxed but mind racing. He knows something has shifted, not just in the room, but out there beyond it. And as the doors close behind him, the conversation doesn't end. It's only getting louder. The hallway behind the set is quieter, but it isn't calm. It hums with movement, assistants rushing past, producers whispering urgently, phones glowing with notifications that refuse to stop. Keanu Reeves walks slowly, hands in his pockets, head slightly bowed, as if the world hasn't just tilted a few degrees off its axis. A producer catches up to him. Keanu, thank you for staying with it, she says, breathless. That was intense. He nods politely. It was honest. Behind the studio doors, the show continues, but the atmosphere inside has changed. Sunny Hostin sits back in her chair, listening as Whoopi transitions to the next topic, but her mind isn't on the conversation anymore. It's on the moment Keanu looked at her and said he wasn't performing, on the audience reaction, on the quiet power of restraint meeting resistance head-on. Joy leans toward Sunny, lowering her voice. You poked the bear. Sunny exhales through a half-smile. I didn't think he'd roar. Joy snorts. He didn't. That's the scary part. Backstage, a screen shows the live feed bleeding into social media. Comments race upward faster than anyone can read them. Clips are already circulating. Short, sharp edits with captions screaming Keanu shuts down the view and Sunny Hostin presses Keanu Reeves live on air. The narrative is forming in real time, splitting clean down the middle. Keanu pauses near his dressing room door. For a moment, he doesn't go in. He stands there, still, listening to the muffled applause from the studio, feeling the weight of words he hadn't planned to say. A memory flickers. Another room, years ago, another set of lights. Another interviewer pushing, probing, asking him to explain grief, to define pain for public consumption. He remembers choosing silence then, too. Today, he chose differently. Inside the dressing room, he sinks into a chair. The mirror reflects a man who looks calm but tired. Not broken. Not angry. Just exposed. He pulls out his phone. Messages stack up instantly. Friends. Colleagues. Numbers he doesn't recognize. You okay? Proud of you. That took guts. He doesn't reply yet. Across town, in a sleek media office, producers rewind the footage again and again. They slow it down, isolate the moment his tone changed. The instant Sunny realized she no longer controlled the rhythm. They mark timestamps. This isn't just daytime TV anymore. This is a viral moment. Back on set, the show wraps. Applause fades. Cameras power down. Sunny removes her mic, fingers lingering on the clip for a second longer than usual. A producer approaches cautiously. Social is blowing up, he says. Both ways. Sunny nods. I figured. You want to say anything? Post something. She thinks about it. About intention versus impact. About the way Keanu's voice lowered instead of rising. Not yet, she says. Let it breathe. Whoopi walks over, arms crossed loosely. You all right? Sunny looks up. Yeah, I think. I think he needed that conversation. Whoopi nods slowly. And so did the audience. The audience. Millions of them. By the time Keanu leaves the building, paparazzi have already gathered. Cameras click. Someone shouts, Keanu. Did Sunny cross a line? Another voice. Are you done staying silent now? He stops. Turns. For a heartbeat, everyone freezes, expecting a statement, a sound bite, a headline-ready quote. Keanu smiles faintly. I said what I needed to say, he replies. Today. He gets into the car. The door closes. The moment is gone, but its echo isn't. Online, the reactions are volcanic. Keanu Reeves finally speaks, and he didn't disappoint. Sunny Hostin asked the hard questions. Respect. Why do we demand pain as proof of caring? Comment sections turn into battlegrounds. Some praise Sunny for challenging celebrity comfort. Others accuse her of ambushing a man known for privacy. Keanu's words are dissected, quoted, misquoted, turned into memes and think pieces within hours. A late-night host jokes about it that same evening. A political commentator references it as an example of performative outrage culture. A philosopher tweets a thread about silence as ethics. Keanu watches none of it. That night, alone in his apartment, the city humming below, he finally scrolls. Slowly, carefully, he reads praise and criticism with the same expression, attentive, reflective. One comment stops him. He didn't shout. He didn't dodge. He just stood his ground. He locks the phone and sets it aside. Across the city, Sunny sits at her kitchen table, laptop open, rewatching the clip, not the viral edits, but the full exchange. She notices things she missed before. The pauses, the way his hands flattened on the table when he grounded himself. The moment his voice changed not with anger, but with resolve. She closes the laptop. Maybe, she murmurs to herself, we're all louder than we need to be. The next morning, headlines flood in. Not just entertainment blogs, mainstream news. Culture columns. Opinion pieces asking bigger questions than anyone expected from a daytime talk show segment. What do we owe public figures? Is silence a form of violence, or a form of care? When does accountability become entitlement? Keanu's name trends worldwide, but the tone is different than usual. Less worship. More thought. He wakes early, makes coffee, sits by the window. The world feels the same, but something inside him has shifted. Not because he spoke, but because he didn't back away. His agent calls. You good? I'm good, Keanu says. You know this could follow you. He smiles slightly. So does everything worth doing. As he hangs up, he realizes something quietly profound. He didn't lose his silence. He chose when to break it. And that choice, made in front of bright lights and sharper questions, has started a conversation far bigger than one show, one host, or one moment. The aftermath is still unfolding. And the loudest part hasn't happened yet. The fallout doesn't arrive all at once. It rolls in like a storm you can see from miles away, slow at first, then suddenly everywhere. By noon, the clip has crossed oceans. Subtitles appear in languages Keanu can't read, but he recognizes the rhythm of his own voice, the stillness between words. Reaction videos multiply. Some creators praise his composure, calling it a masterclass in restraint. Others accuse him of hiding behind calm, of intellectualizing pain. The divide hardens. On The View, the next day feels different before anyone even speaks. The audience buzz is louder, more charged. People aren't just here to watch, they're here to witness what happens after. Whoopi opens the show with gravity. Yesterday's conversation struck a chord, she says, looking straight into the camera. And clearly, people had feelings. Sunny sits beside her, composed but thoughtful. She nods. That wasn't an ambush, she says. It was a real conversation. And real conversations can be uncomfortable. The audience applauds, some enthusiastically, some cautiously. Sunny continues, choosing her words carefully. Keanu Reeves didn't give the answers everyone wanted, but he gave answers that were honest to him. Clips roll. The flattened hands on the table. The lowered voice. The line that now lives everywhere. I owe honesty, not performance. In living rooms across the world, people pause their coffee mid-sip. In offices, coworkers argue quietly over whether that sentence is wisdom or privilege. On social media, the debate evolves. It's no longer just about Keanu or Sunny. It's about everyone. About expectations. About grief. About how loudly pain is supposed to sound to be believed. Hashtags trend. Think pieces clash. Therapists, activists, artists all weigh in. Silence becomes the loudest word in the conversation. Keanu doesn't respond publicly. No tweet. No statement. No carefully worded post. He goes about his day, walks, reads, meets a friend for lunch. Someone recognizes him and says, "Thank you for saying what you said." He smiles. "Thank you for listening." That night, a major outlet releases an editorial titled, "When Quiet Men Finally Speak." Another counters with silence is still a choice. The comments are relentless, endless, human. Sunny watches from home, phone in hand. She reads messages thanking her for asking the questions others were afraid to. She reads others accusing her of crossing a line. She accepts both. She knows something real happened, and real moments don't belong to one side. She types a short post, then deletes it. Types again. Deletes. Finally, she writes nothing. Because sometimes even the sharpest voices need a pause. A week later, the moment hasn't faded. It's settled. It's become reference. People point to it when conversations stall. "Remember when Keanu pushed back?" someone says on a podcast. "Remember when Sunny wouldn't let it slide?" replies another. The audience from that day remembers too. They remember the feeling in the room. The way tension didn't explode but stretched. The way disagreement didn't turn cruel. The way two people stood firm without trying to destroy each other. And that's why the clip keeps circulating. Not because it was loud, but because it was rare. Keanu attends an event weeks later. A reporter asks, "Would you do it again?" He thinks for a second. "I think," he says, "I did what I was meant to do." The reporter nods, sensing there's nothing more coming. Back on YouTube, the views keep climbing. Comments pour in under the video you're watching right now. People arguing, agreeing, sharing stories of their own silence and their own moments of pushing back. And now it's your turn. What do you think? Was Keanu right to finally push back, or was Sunny right to challenge him? Did silence speak volumes, or not enough? Drop your opinion in the comments below. Share this video with someone who needs to hear this conversation. And if you want more explosive cinematic stories that pull you inside the moment, make sure you subscribe to Stage View, because the next confrontation is already waiting.